So as a Texas native and a woman with exceptionally good music taste, Beyonce is my absolute favorite artist. And so when she was doing the Renaissance tour, of course I had to go, and I had to go in Houston because that is her hometown and I would be a fool not to. And so I wanted to make something special for this concert. So I set out to make an entire head to toe outfit. And this is what I made. Okay, so for this project, I'm challenging myself to make every piece of it. So I'm gonna be making or customizing a hat, making the dress, making the shoes. First and foremost, for our patterns, I wanted to just make super simple, just little mini dress. So I am using my Lutterlow system to make the pattern. And this is a really, really, really awesome system. I've used this for a few different videos to make patterns for a few things. This is awesome. If you like to make stuff, gotta get this. It is an intermediate to advanced tool though, so just a heads up for that. So for this project, I'm gonna be using this pattern. If it will focus. Yes. So I'm gonna be using this pattern and modifying it a little bit. So I won't be doing the ruffle on the bottom, it's just the dress. And then I don't want it to go all the way up to the neck, so I'm just going to, if you can see these little side seams right here, I'm gonna use that as kind of the tip of the top where the straps will go on. And then I'm gonna kind of cut this down to make it a little bit of a scoop neck and then make this a lot shorter so it's like a mini length. So that is the pattern I'm using. I have gone ahead and put it together. I didn't film it because I'm really bad at this. So that's already done, but it does need some modifications. So I'll talk you through the modifications I do there, and I'm about to make a muslin for it. So as far as fabric goes, I really wanted to challenge myself not to use any fabrics or not have to buy any fabrics, just use fabric that I already had. So I had this cow print left over from a client project that I did, and I have quite a bit of it. So this is what the dress will be made out of. It's just a faux cow hide, but it does have some faux fur on it. I also have this pink vinyl left over from a project I did for myself, actually like probably 3 or 4 years ago now. So this will be kind of an accent that I'm gonna make a few like shapes to put onto the dress, and then I'll be making shoes as well, but I'm gonna use real leather for that. So I'll get just like cow print leather. I already have all the other leather, just got some soles, all that good stuff. So we're gonna be making a lot of different pieces, doing a lot of different things. So let's go ahead and make the muslin, because that'll be the very first thing for the dress, and then once the pattern's perfect, then we can actually put it together. Okay, so the muslin's done. Didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to, so let me show you where we're at. So if you can see, the top is massive, which I was not expecting. So the top is way too big, but the hips fit nicely. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna add as much seam allowance in this top section right here, but keep it the way that I did it right here on the bottom, since that's looking so nice. So hopefully that'll bring the top in, but keep everything nice and the same here. Also the neckline, I don't hate it, but it is too high. So I'm gonna lower it about 1.5 to 2 inches. Gonna keep the points where they are, so just slope down from here 2 inches to make a little bit more of a scoop neck. I think that's the only changes I'm gonna make. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that. I'm gonna show y'all how I'm gonna change the patterns. So this is the finished base dress. I am freaking obsessed with it. I said I was gonna use the pink vinyl because I already had it. I'm trying really hard not to buy new stuff for this project. But Beyonce herself literally posted a story and said she wants people to wear silver. So I did the only logical thing there is to do, and I ordered some silver vinyl off of the internet. So now I'm still gonna do the same concept where I'm gonna have a big Western style star and sparkles, but it'll be silver instead of the pink, which I think is gonna be gorgeous. It's gonna be even more like Space Cowgirl. I think it's gonna be really pretty. I just was trying not to buy new stuff, so, but it's okay. It was only like $8 for a yard of it, because it was on clearance, so pretty good. So I think I'm gonna do rhinestone trim on the bottom, and then I'm gonna do rhinestone trim on the top. So dress base is done, waiting for the vinyl to come in so we can do the applique and kind of get all the rest of it sort of plussed up. But the fit could not be better, and it's exactly what I envisioned in my mind, so good start. While I waited for my vinyl to arrive in the mail, I moved on to making the shoes, and first step is to make the pattern. To make the pattern, I covered my last in masking tape and then lightly sketched out the shape of the top of the shoe that I wanted to make. Once that was looking good, I then transferred that tape over to paper and added in my seam allowance, and then I could use that pattern to cut out my leather. And then to make the sole, you cut out a pattern that is the same shape as your sole, but with the seam allowance. You use contact cement to attach that. Then I use the same contact cement to attach suede to the heel as well. Once the sole was finished, I could put that back onto my last using some tape, and then I also taped on the top pieces that I cut out to keep it in place while I lasted it. Once both shoes are lasted, you just want to make sure that they look as similar as possible, and then you're ready to screw on the heel. And I wanted to make this a little bit more cohesive with the dress itself, so I added some stones as well in the same method that I normally use. Once the silver vinyl arrived in the mail, I used my Cricut to cut out a variety of star shapes. Alright, so we got the base dress done, and now I have my stars cut out, and I have a few different sizes. This is the biggest, this is the middle, and then I have the smallest is these little guys right here. So now that they're done, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of masking tape on the back of them and put the dress on, and then I'm going to just stick it on where it looks best, and then once it's stuck on, I'm gonna glue them and then sew around the edges, because I don't want them to, when I sit, I don't want the vinyl to like bubble up off of the dress. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just don't want it to, I want it to be very secure and flat and not get like creased up and wrinkled from sitting and standing and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll start sewing them on. Once I had my stars in the exact places that I wanted them, I used my post bed machine to sew them in place. After the stars were sewn on, I hand stitched on the rhinestone fringe to the bottom of the dress and added rhinestones around each of the stars as well. So this is everything completely done. I've got all my stars here. I got my little trim on the bottom. I was on the fence about using this hat. So I covered this hat in velvet probably 3 years ago now, just because, I don't know, I wanted to. I found these absolutely massive cowboy hats at Buc-ee's, and I was just like obsessed with how large they are, which I have my hair up so it's not sitting right, but it's obviously humongous. And that's what intrigued me about this hat. So I bought the hat for 20 bucks at Buc-ee's, and then I was like, it's just a regular straw cowboy hat, but I had some velvet, and I was like, I'm gonna cover it in velvet. And my intention at the time was to put rhinestone fringe on it. It's got like the beginnings of rhinestones around here, but I never finished it because I didn't know what I wanted to use it for. And ultimately, like, the reason why I got it is because it's so big, and I love how big it is, but it looks ridiculous with everything that I wear because it's huge. So I was on the fence about whether or not I was going to use it for this outfit, but I think with all the pieces together, it'll be better with my hair down. But I think with everything together, it will look good. So I am going to go ahead and use this hat. Okay, so that is what I made for the Renaissance tour. I was really happy with everything that I made. I will say that the hat is cool and fun and quirky, whatever. I will never wear that hat again. It's way too big. I did end up wearing it to the concert, and it was just like, people were bumping into me. It was just way too much. So it's a fun little novelty thing to have, but I will never wear that again. But love the dress. I've already worn the dress a couple of times. And for the shoes, this is a really funny story because obviously the concert's already happened, so I'll tell y'all this. I made the mistake of, I should have just worn sneakers, or I literally make sneakers. I should have made sneakers for this look instead of heels, but anyway, I made these heels and they're really, really cute, but I forget that you have to do so much walking when you go to like a huge stadium tour like that. So by the time we had like gotten to our seats, and like by the time the concert was over, my feet were already like not feeling great. And then to get out, it's like, you know, you're walking probably over a mile just to get out of the stadium, and then it's like utter chaos when you get to the outside. And we were staying in a hotel that was a mile away from the venue, and so we were either gonna walk a mile back to our hotel or walk a mile to a restaurant, because we're super hungry. So we were like, let's walk to the restaurant, we'll get some food, and then we'll just get a car back to the hotel. So we walk the mile to the restaurant, and at this point, my feet, I've like completely worn the skin off the bottom of my feet with these shoes, because they're just like, they're not very supportive shoes, and I had never worn them before. They weren't broken in. So that was a horrible mistake. And then we get all the way to the restaurant and they are closed. So we ended up getting a car back, but I was like, wow, I made a horrible mistake in wearing these to a huge concert like this for the first time. So definitely lesson learned, but I looked cute, and I guess that's all that matters. And I have this funny story to tell. So I will see y'all on the next one. Bye.